branches of government with checks and balances. I'm Bill Ward, and it's time to play Constitution Challenge. Now, let's meet our contestants. Returning from round one, we have Tommy Kogan and Jenny Kaplan from Berkshire High School. And with some pretty small shoes to fill, flip-flops, really. Joining us is Eric Brown from Ranger High School. All right, let's get rolling. Here's our first question. Under the U.S. Constitution, what are the three branches of government? Dave, what do you got?
Judicial, the executive, and the
executive, the legislative, and the judicial.
The Congress, right? The executive branch and the judicial branch.
Longitude, right? Latitude, and
Republican. I don't know. Democratic.
Judicial, executive, and legislative.
The legislative, the executive, and the judicial.
Excellent, very good. Can you tell me the three branches of our government?
Oh, executive branch, legislative branch, and
Judicial branch. The judicial.
Oh, judicial.
Very good. Okay.
I don't.
Congress and Senate.
Executive and judicial.
I'm sorry. Say it again.
Legislative, executive, and judicial.
Okay, hang on. Here, you guys.
No.
Okay, can you tell me?
Executive branch, judicial branch, and the executive, judicial,
Legislative.
I'm sorry?
Legislative.
Very good. See, she knows the answers.
Okay, contestants, are they correct? What are the three branches of government?
Legislative, judicial, and executive.
Correct. Now let's go back to Dave and see if anyone knows what the branches do. Dave?
Okay, and can you tell me, what does the legislative branch of government do?
They're supposed to make the laws. They're supposed to make the laws.
It makes the laws.
They make laws.
Yeah, they make our laws and enforce them. Go back to Dad.
Contestants, how about it? Who can tell me about the legislative branch?
The legislative branch is our Congress, the House of Representatives, and the Senate. They make our laws.
Great. Now, how about the judicial branch? Let's go back to Dave. Dave?
The judicial enforces the laws.
The judicial decides people accused of breaking the law. Judicial makes laws.
No.
The judicial makes the judgment of legality of things. You want me to tell you what a judge does? Let me tell you.
He's scaring me. Okay, can you tell me, what does the judicial branch do?
Review the laws and...
I'm sorry?
Interpret the law.
What does the judicial branch of the government do?
The judicial branch interprets the law.
That's right. Contestants, you think he has that right?
Well, the judicial enforces the laws that are passed, headed by the Supreme Court.
Nope. Wrong answer. The judicial branch interprets the laws. They decide how the laws passed by the legislative branch are enforced. The executive branch enforces and administers those laws, led by the President of the United States. Now, speaking of the executive branch, as the nation's chief executive, the President has the power to veto a bill passed by Congress. What does veto mean?
It means the President can decline a law.
It's when the President puts a kibosh on a law.
That means that the president doesn't sign off on a bill that the legislative branch has passed.
That's when you don't let the bill pass. They reject it.
Can you tell me what a veto is?
No.
The president has the right to veto a legislation that comes through.
Oh, me.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, that's where they void it.
What's a veto? No, come on.
It's when, like, the president or somebody tells them no.
Tells who no?
Congress.
Yeah, that's the president's power to cancel a law passed by the Congress.
All right. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. That's it.
Well, did anyone get it right? Let's see what our contestants have to say.
It's when the president doesn't want a law passed. He just says no.
That's right.
When his stamp hits a bill, it's a law that gets killed, that's a veto. When the press says enough, I'll have no more of this stuff, that's a veto. When a bill isn't signed, it's the end of the line, that's a veto. Excuse me, but you see, when we're here in D.C., that's a veto.
That's a rider. I'm sorry. When Congress passes a bill, the Constitution allows the president to refuse to sign it into law. That's a veto. But if Congress disagrees with the president, what can be done?
Well, nothing. I don't think.
No, that's not right. They can go over his head and pass it anyway.
No, how can they do that?
The House and the Senate need to pass the bill by a 2/3 majority, and then it becomes a law.
Right, no matter what the president says. Okay, contestants, according to the Constitution, which branch of government is the most powerful?
There are three branches of our federal government. There is the legislative, represented there. We have the executive, getting a little tired, and we have judicial over here, having too much fun. Can you tell me, of the three of those branches, which is supposed to be the most powerful?
The legislative.
Supposed to be, really? Okay, can you tell me why?
Because they pass laws.
What do our studio contestants have to say? According to the Constitution, which branch of government is the most powerful?
Executive. Because executives are in charge.
No, it's judicial. They're at the end of the line.
Come on, it's the legislative. They make the laws.
Sorry, you're all wrong. The Constitution grants different powers to each branch of government, so no branch of government should be more powerful than any other branch. So what's it called when one branch controls the power of one of the other branches?
Ah, that's what they mean by checks and balances.
Right. Our system of checks and balances keeps each branch of government from abusing its powers.
Checks and balances. When we're talking about our federal government and we talk about the separation of powers and we're talking about our executive and our legislative and our judicial branches, one of the most important parts of our Constitution is that each one of those branches has their own individual responsibilities. The legislative branch creates the laws. The executive branch executes the laws or enforces them. And our judicial branch determines whether or not they're constitutional. In every single case, one part of our government is checked and balanced by the other branches of our government. For example, Congress can pass bills, but those bills cannot become law unless the president signs them. The president has an option of vetoing legislation. Congress can override a veto. There are many, many instances in our Constitution where those relationships are illustrated. And I've got an example here. This is a letter that Ronald Reagan sent to the Senate in August of 1981, nominating Sandra Day O'Connor to the Supreme Court. And the reason it's a great example of those checks and balances, as well as separation of powers, is it's a letter from the executive branch to the legislative branch about the judicial branch. And the relationship between the three is illustrated just beautifully in the letter, and it's a great illustration of exactly what is described in the Constitution.
Okay, now here's our final question. A constitutional amendment must pass both houses of Congress. Where does the proposed amendment go after they pass it for approval? Dave?
Goes to the states.
Has to go to the states, and the states, I guess, what is it, 2/3 or 3/4? I can't remember.
After both houses of Congress, huh?
Right.
To the president's desk?
Goes to the president?
It needs to be signed by the president.
New constitutional amendment.
That's right.
Goes to the states.
You seen? Oh, wait. We're being paid.
No, it's my daughter's giving me answers.
He's going for the lifeline.
What does our panel think?
I think it goes to the president for his signature, and then it's added to the Constitution.
After Congress proposes an amendment, it goes to the states for ratification.
Making the amendment the law of the land. Well, let's take a look at our scores. We've got Tommy with 20 points. Jenny, you've got 50. And Eric, you've got 40 points. Tommy, it's been fun, but it's time to move on. Bob, tell us what Tommy gets.
Today's program was brought to you by Knowledge in the Can. Helpful hints about the Constitution that you can take anywhere.
So who won today's game of Constitution Challenge? These two and you. I'm Bill Ward.